Where do I even start with this game? So, like with many survival games, the feeling of first starting fresh is a really nice feeling. That I can't really say is unique to this game. You get the same feeling with Minecraft every time you start a new world. And I still remember that feeling for this world and like thinking about all the possibilities that I could do with this world. And now thinking back on it, a lot of possibilities weren't fleshed out, but you know, that's just how things go. You never do everything you originally thought of, and that's one of the reasons why starting a world has such a satisfying feeling to it, is because you get that first feeling of I could do anything with this, anything is possible. That's not really unique to this game, but it's still something I think is worth mentioning that this game has. The story of this game, the narrative that this game weaves, is really interesting. I didn't focus that much on it on this playthrough because I've really looked into it in the past, like reading all the PDAs, things like that. Like, it's not really something I did in this playthrough, and I don't know if I'll ever do a playthrough again. I probably will one day. I really feel like I want to go back and like recollect all of this and like reflect on this game again, because this is really an amazing game. But if I do, then I'm probably not going to do a no looking up stuff run through. Like, that just seems ridiculous. Starting off with the safe shallows, it introduces you to the game really well with very little danger and an introduction to swimming around in the game. And then you slowly like progress yourself by getting all these new materials and stuff. And at this point, I'm just describing the game. But the point is that I'm trying to get to biomes. What biome should I talk about first? Grand Reef, I think, is the one I'm going to talk about first because it's the one that I pretty much started investigating, I'm pretty sure, because I made my base where I did. The Grand Reef is a fascinating biome to me, and it's always been one of my favorite biomes. It's definitely the one I visit the most. Looking back on it now, there are a lot of biomes that I actually appreciate even more with this playthrough, because there are some biomes that I didn't even know existed that I went exploring for, and it blew my mind. The Grand Reef, I don't really like it because of how confusing it is to navigate the lower regions of it, but I don't know. I also kind of like it for that reason at the same time. It's a crowded thing. It's like a maze of sorts, and it hides the orange tablet in it, as I've just now discovered, and that Degassi habitat and the Degassi story that is weaved through this is also really cool. Again, I didn't look into it at all this playthrough because I've looked into it in the past. If you are interested in the story of this game and you don't want to just see me playing through it, I genuinely suggest you go check out stuff about like the Degassi story and the story of the Aurora, like what we can figure out about it, and the story of these precursor aliens that have been on this planet, and the story of the Leviathans and the plant life of this planet. Like, all those things are individual stories on their own that are just weaved together so well in this game. But Grand Reef, I don't really know what else to say about it besides, one, it's kind of confusing to navigate through, but it's also just a really pretty biome. It's a really unique biome, I think. It just truly seems alien, which is kind of the whole point of this game, and it's really cool to me. Blood kelp. I'm gonna try and like work my way down. The blood kelp is terrifying. It does a very good job. It always terrifies me whenever I first see it. Once I've gotten accustomed to it in this game, I can still like get closer to it and be fine. But whenever I initially get in the blood kelp, I'm always terrified, and I can never say that I feel at rest when I'm in the blood kelp biome. So it does that, and that's the purpose of the biome. It does a very good job of being absolutely terrifying. The bulb bush biome, I'm not that familiar with it, but it's its own version of terrifying to me. It hits in a different way, terrifyingly speaking, for me at least, for this playthrough. I'm sure it doesn't overall in comparison to the blood kelp itself, but for me it was just the factor of the unknown. I had never gone that far into the bulb bush biome, and so going into the bulb bush biome really just terrified me whenever I started getting into the lower parts, and it was at the edge of the Leviathan biome. Like, even in this recording session, whenever I was taking my Cyclops down there, it was really terrifying to me. So that was another experience that I will remember. And that cavern that goes down into the Lost River is also very beautiful, and I would like to talk about that in a second if I remember. But before I go too deep into the game's biomes, I also want to talk about the mushroom tree biome. I don't know what else to call it. The fungus biome, I don't know what to call it, but that biome is also very fascinating to me. That biome is very beautiful, and some of my favorite things to come out of this game are the ghost rays and well, don't remember what they're called, but I think they're just called ghost rays or something. But the blue creatures, the glowing blue creatures that are in that mushroom biome and in the Lost River, those are some of my favorite things to come out of this game. They're just a great example of the pure innocentness of like some of the creatures in this game, and just the life that is in this game. And also my cuttlefish just hatched. But this game really does like just bring things to life. It brings creatures that don't exist just to life in a beautiful way, and that's one of the things that is so amazing about this game. So that's another thing I want to mention, is just the beautifulness, if that's a word, of this game. This game is so beautiful. It is, and it's done in such a beautiful manner, which is what I've been talking about this whole time. But just the scenery, the design of this game is so beautiful and immersive, which is why it can be very overwhelmingly terrifying and very overwhelmingly beautiful at other times, or mixtures of both. This game is really incredible at doing that. One more thing before I move on to talk about the Lost Sea is I want to talk about the ease of play of this game. Something from a gameplay perspective, not just talking about how beautiful the game is or the individual biomes, but this game it's not easy, but it's easy to enjoy. I feel like there's something for everyone in this game. I'm sure there's people who genuinely don't like this game, and that's fair, but more to the point, I think this game it's not an easy game, but it's easy to play, if that makes any sense. Like this game takes a long time to beat, but it's very nice to just sit back and play this game for a few hours, to just relax and enjoy Subnautica, enjoy all the work that's been put into this game, all of the beautiful design and the different biomes, and just explore. If you have not played this game without looking things up, like if you know a good bit about this game already, then I suggest you go for a while without playing this game so that you forget a lot about it, and then play this game and force yourself not to look things up, because I wanted to do that because that's the way this game is meant to be played. Here at the end I looked something up because it just seemed like a time consumption thing that I didn't really need. Whenever I first started this game, and I'm very glad I did this, I didn't want to look things up, because especially searching for that blue tablet, I thought it was green for a long time, but searching for that blue tablet was something that forced me into so many biomes that I didn't even know existed, or just searching for so many things, like crossing things off the checklist, going and getting all the life paths and all the Degassi habitats and stuff like that. Like it made me find so many areas of the map that I forgot existed or didn't know exist, or explore them more thoroughly than I ever had. And I genuinely am so glad that I did that, because exploring this game for yourself and actually just experiencing it as it was meant to be originally played, as a game of exploration, that is the whole point of this game, I think. As far as the gameplay is just a game about exploration and survival, and just actually exploring the game, taking the time to do that. It takes a long time, but taking the time to genuinely do that is just such a good experience. So if you're someone who likes to look up things in this game, I highly suggest you try and stick it out through this game. It gets frustrating and tedious at times, but it is so worth it. A lot of the game is straightforward. You explore. You're either exploring, trying to find something, or you're trying to craft something, and it's very straightforward. That's another thing about it that's easy. It's just not a hard game to understand for the most part. It's just time consuming. You just have to be patient. This game is a game of patience. So moving on from that, I want to talk about the Lost River. Actually, before I talk about the Lost River, I'm going to jump down to the inactive and active magma zones. The active magma zone, being that you're at the end of the game, to me, does a very good job of making you feel threatened, like this is the ending of the game, and it's almost like a boss fight, although it's not a boss fight. It's not very hard to get past, but it just has that feeling about it, where it's a closure of the game, and it feels like it's the most dangerous biome. And it is scary in that way. It's not terrifying scary of like the unknown like the blood kelp is, or just being a fearful environment in the way that it's designed. It's just fearful in that extent, I guess, that it feels dangerous. The inactive magma zone is very similar, and yes, I did do active then inactive second, but the inactive magma zone is very similar, but it's one that you're forced into more often to get kyanite and things like that. And it's also the thing about the inactive magma zone that I think is a cool thing to add, but it's caused frustration for me much in the past. It didn't much for this playthrough. I was fine. I think I was just stupid in the past, or stupider in the past. Not to say that I'm not currently still stupid, but I think I was stupider in the past when I played this game. I lost my game because I got lost in the inactive magma zone, and before that happened, I got lost in it numerous times. And I think that's just because of like, it's almost a maze. It's so easy to get lost in there. It's so easy to get turned around. It's so easy to not know where the exit is. It's so easy to do those things. It does a good job of stressing you out, as And I think that's something I was trying to say about the active magma zone as well, that I kind of failed to say. That biome as a whole really just stresses you out, and so does the inactive magma zone. It does a very good job of that, and I don't think it's a bad thing, because it's the ending of the game. Like, it's part of the final portion of the game. It does a good job of stressing you out. Like, you don't want to be there any longer than you have to be, and not just because you're afraid like you are in the Blood Kelp. Like, you actually feel like if you stay there for too long, your vehicle will be destroyed, you'll die, or your vehicle will run out of power and you'll get stuck there, because that's another definite possibility that happened to me a lot that was stressful for me in this playthrough. Hiding the blue tablet in the center of the mound, which I don't know why I couldn't have guessed that originally. That blue tablet and that alien facility in the center of that mound was also just really cool. It was like a really cool, I guess, climax of the game for me, because I had been exploring for so long looking for just exactly that, and I had finally found it, and I knew that it was all downhill from there. It was just the resolution part of the story. I knew where I was going. I knew how to beat the game. So I'm glad that I searched so hard for that blue tablet, because it made me go into a lot of different biomes, and it gave me a very big feeling of satisfaction when I actually genuinely found it on my own. And then finally, to conclude this, I want to talk about the Lost River. The Lost River, to me, I think after this long playthrough, I think I can definitively say that the Lost River is my favorite biome, and I feel like a lot of people can agree. It's scary and it's beautiful in its own right. It has the same elements that so many other biomes in this game do, but it's also so unique from any of them, because this game is so geniusly crafted, and all the biomes I've talked about are so incredibly unique from one another. Even the Creepvine biome, which I didn't do much in this game with, but like even that biome is so unique. But the Lost River is so unique, just as many other biomes are. It's so beautiful and it's so terrifying. It has all of these things, and many other biomes do as well, including many precursor things, which I'm going to briefly actually talk about that really quick. The precursors, I really just love the sense of mystery. And again, this isn't something that's strict to this game. Plenty of other games have had that mysterious, ancient alien that's technologically superior, that whole concept. Back to the Lost River, and the whole thing that I think makes the Lost River so special is the mystery. On top of the fear, on top of the stressfulness, and on top of the beautifulness of that biome. And the mystery is so obvious, laid out in front of you, but there's no answers. Like, especially the massive skeleton that's in that Ghost Leviathan chamber. I assume you know what I'm talking about, because I don't really know how else to describe it. Like, that's such a cool, like, inclusion. And the skeleton that I visited in the last episode, kind of, in the area where you put in the orange tablet, that one as well, which I believe if you look in the PDAs, it says that that's just the head, what looks to be just the head of a larger Leviathan, much larger, which is the largest Leviathan that you see in this game, skeletally speaking, even larger than the one that's in the Ghost Leviathan chamber, I believe. But even just both of those, like those massive creatures, and it's pretty clear as well, too, that like the Lost River was made by Leviathans, I'm pretty sure. It's a cave system that was dug out by Leviathans, and they lived there. That was like their home, the Lost River was, and they died there. And you can see the remains, and it's just, I believe, if what I remember from the lore is correct, it's a fascinating thing to look into. The Lost River, there's so much lore to be had in the Lost River, and that's one of the reasons why it's so special to me. So that's about all I have to talk about for this game. This game, to me, is so amazing, and I thank the developers of this game for making this beautiful experience. And I'm so excited to play Subnautica Below Zero, because I will be playing it at some point. I want to wait until it fully releases. I know nothing about that game. I have looked up nothing about it, besides like the intro mission, which I've watched someone play. After that, I know nothing about that game, and I intend to go into that game fresh and play it start to finish, like I wasn't able to do with this game, because I spoiled it for myself by watching people play the game. Besides the very near future, I don't know exactly where I'm going in the future, but for those of you who have stuck with me through this series, or anyone, even if you just stopped by for one episode and just watched a little bit of it, thank you. I appreciate it, and I hope you consider to come see my future content. This is just the beginning of this channel. I'm really excited to see the future of this channel. It's sad for me to end this game, but I'm excited at the same time. This is the end of Subnautica, but it's the beginning of my channel. This has been one hell of an experience for me. A crazy ride of countless hours being lost, down to my very first recording session of this game that I lost and then restarted the game so that I could do it properly. And then the edit of the first episode, the original edit that I did, is also non-existent because I didn't save stupidly for 5 hours straight of doing my first official edit of a YouTube video. I didn't save the software and it crashed. Go figure. And so I lost everything, and then the weekend after that I lost 10 hours of editing progress by accidentally managing to delete something when I didn't realize what I was doing. And then the weekend after that I lost about 7 hours of work on my first thumbnail material that I was trying to make an image transparent, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I failed and restarted multiple times, and then I saved the image and the software just didn't do it because it's a free software and I didn't exactly know how to work it at the time. At this point, I don't even save images, and I just export them, and then I let the software forget that it even did work on them. That's probably not a good idea, but I'll be getting Photoshop soon anyways, and I'll start saving projects then. Right now, I'm sitting here staring at this cuttlefish. I'm about to go record the outro to the final episode, what you would have seen before this, and it's honestly sad to see it go. But it is time for the experience to come to an end. So I'm about to go launch a rocket. If you haven't seen that, then I suggest you go check out my previous episode. Or check out the whole series, and there'll be a playlist on the end screen for this video. I really hope that you enjoy. One last thing. I did in fact complete this game without ever dying, which I'm very proud of myself for doing. It was fun. There's plenty more that will happen in the future with this channel, but for Subnautica, this is the end. I really hope that you've enjoyed. This has been a one-of-a-kind experience. Thank you again. I'll catch you all in the next one.